This is the Lenovo V15-IIL, and it costs $600 brand new. I want you to keep that in mind throughout this whole video. So let's start off with the design. First thing you notice, it's made of plastic, which isn't actually surprising. We can find gaming laptops that are still made of plastic, so we can let that pass. On the right side, we have our charging port, and it's of course a barrel jack. Right next to our charging port, we find our LED indicator, which shows how much battery we have left. If it's orange, then it's not charged. If it's white, then it's fully charged. We have a regular sized HDMI, one USB 2.0 port, and two other USB 3.1 Gen 1 ports. And here we have our little flash indicator. On the left, we find a mini SD card slot, a headphone jack. This is a very specific, weird kind of Lenovo thing. It's called an NOVO buttonhole. The display is a 15.6 inches TN panel with an anti-glare coating, and its resolution is 1920 by 1080, so it's a 1080p screen, full HD. Its brightness is 220 nits, and it has a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now, of course, since this is a TN panel, the viewing angles look weird. As you can see, the colors start to get a bit washed out and weird. In reality, you don't tend to notice this kind of viewing angle problem even at all, at least for my case. And the screen brightness is honestly not that strong. Here it is at peak brightness indoors, and it's honestly not that strong outdoors. This is how the laptop looks like when it's shut. It has this very plain design, nothing too fancy. You can see your Lenovo logo over here. And these things are not actually with the computer by default. It was just the hinge being so terrible that I had to just glue the screen. If you look closely, then you can see some marks of glue on the hinge. So this plastic body is not the best. In terms of the thickness, it's not too bad. I mean, it feels a bit light, and as you can see, this is the problem with a plastic hinge. You can see that it just flops around like this, and it's not too thick of a laptop, as you can see. There is the real thickness. It looks fat, and it's honestly not really that heavy. If we look at the keyboard and trackpad, then you can see that this keyboard looks very standard, nothing too crazy. It's an A30 layout for me. You got this stupid janky arrow setup, and you've got these little shortcut things over here, for example, for changing the volume or changing the brightness or locking or all of this kind of stuff. And the typing experience is not too bad either. The keyboard doesn't have that much travel, but it still feels good enough. It may not be the most comfortable keyboard in the world, but it's still decent. And when I type on it for long periods of time, I don't really feel any kind of problems. It's not flat, but at the same time, it doesn't have like an extreme amount of travel, so it's good. But we're not here for any of that. We're here for the real important parts, which are the RAM and the actual performance. So remember that this laptop cost $600? Well, it came with 4 gigabytes of RAM. $600 and you get 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now mine is upgraded to 12, and that's the maximum it can support. It is DDR4 type RAM. And while it brags about having an Intel Core i5 10th generation, the actual processor itself, it's a quad-core processor with a base speed of 1.1 gigahertz. And it maxes out at 3.6 gigahertz. And it has integrated graphics, specifically the Intel UHD graphics G1. Now, if you don't know what a G1 kind of graphics is, it's the lowest form of integrated graphics that you can find on an Intel CPU. The highest one being G7. And the trackpad here doesn't feel too bad either. It's responsive, and it's not really that big, so while I video edit or photo edit in this, it feels extremely just uncomfortable due to its size, so I just end up resorting to an external mouse. This laptop has a set of stereo speakers. Duh. Where are they? Over here on the bottom. A generic cheap tactic that these laptop manufacturers use. And they're okay. I mean, you're not gonna be over there expecting bass or the tops or any kind of fancy stuff. And also, they're not really that loud when you're like in loud conditions. You're gonna need a pair of earphones because the speakers here aren't the best in terms of loudness. And here is an audio test. One of the songs I use in my videos as background music. So 3, 2, 1. This is if I raise the laptop. As you can notice, as soon as you put it on a surface, the sound becomes muffled, and that's the audio experience you're always going to be getting, because of course you're going to be putting the laptop on a surface, so the audio quality gets better when it's not on a surface, which makes the speaker design extremely terrible. I've got Premiere Pro and Vegas Pro and the Photoshop. I literally edit all of my videos in this laptop, and honestly the performance is really great on 1080p footage, because all I really record is 1080p. Now this computer is not meant for gaming, so all I did was just play with NVIDIA GeForce Now, which is a cloud gaming service. I mean, it works on literally a Chromebook, so if you kept the 4GB of RAM it had, then it's not meant for gaming. You don't expect to play Fortnite or any other games that you've seen previously like in a comfortable manner, and I don't want to kill this poor computer because it's the main one for me. Here I am using this can you run it website thing to know if I can run certain games, and these are the other games that I can run. So as you can see, I can technically run Valorant on minimum system requirements, Fortnite, Minecraft. The thing that is always just constantly wrong is the CPU. I can run League of Legends even with the recommended system requirements, The Sims 4, Roblox, Kenshi, don't know what that is, not GTA V, oof, sounds like a knockoff, Warzone, again it's usually the minimum. Here we have Deltarune, Subnautica, Left 4 Dead 2, Fortnite, it just repeated itself, Fallout New Vegas. I can apparently run Deltarune. That's garbage, I hate that, please no. So after all of this, you can probably guess the game I'm gonna be playing. It's Warzone.
Oh my god, it's Bagel! Yes! I did it! It's Bagel! Yeah! It's working on Windows 10. Click to play. Oh yes. Approve. Unicorn! Yes, I have achieved peak gaming. I'm Marty. Yes, fuck the burger. I am doing the best gaming ever seen in the world.
Oh, you thought I was gonna play Fortnite or Roblox or Valorant? Am I insane? And this is a test of the video recording at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So as you can see, it is perfectly fine for screen recording despite it being like based on a hard drive and the processor having the lowest integrated graphics. So again, this computer is perfectly fine for content creation as long as you stick to 1080p and probably avoid 60 frames per second if possible, in case your editing is heavy. This computer has a 1 terabyte hard drive. Yup. $600 and you don't even get an SSD. You can literally find a computer with a 1 terabyte hard drive for $300. It's a 5,400 RPM hard drive, and it's not like those fancy 7,000 whatever it reaches. And you see that it runs Windows 10 despite it being capable of running Windows 11. That's because I had it running on Windows 11 and the performance was abysmal. It would take like 5 minutes to boot up, and opening an app would take minutes to load, and there were so many crashes that I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm just gonna downgrade it to Windows 10, and that made such a ginormous performance difference. Finally, I could feel like I can actually use Premiere Pro without everything crashing on me. I could video edit comfortably at good frame rates and proper preview qualities. It felt like the computer was finally usable, whereas Windows 11 just made it completely unusable. Yes, they are right. Windows 11 is torture on hard drives. Windows 10, on the other hand, it's not even really that bad. It's, at least for my case, it's actually usable, despite this hard drive being a 5,400 RPM and the processor having a base clock frequency of 1.1 gigahertz. Oh, the battery. Let's talk about that battery life. So, initially it could like last 3 hours or 2 hours, but ever since I've downloaded After Effects, which isn't compatible because it needs at least 16 gigabytes of RAM, and this laptop actually has 12. It just completely butchered up the battery, despite the little indicator telling you 2 hours and 15 minutes remaining. This is on idle, keeping them away. When I use it, it barely lasts an hour, and I always have to keep it plugged in. By the way, this is how the charging brick looks like. I've got this tape going on because this cable is starting to die out. And then you just get the fact that this is 65 watts. It takes around 2 hours, maybe 1 hour and a half, probably 2 hours to get this thing charged. I'm not sure, but it doesn't take too long. But the problem is this PC, for me, at least based on my usage of virtual machines, video editing, photo editing, it lasts less than how long it takes to charge, if you can understand. Finally. Damn it, just let me charge the thing. It's happening again. No. On the top we can see our fantastic webcam, the microphone, and some LED indicator that proves that the webcam is on. Don't know what the hell this is. Oh yeah, I bet these are like two microphones. Maybe, I guess. Wow, I'm such a reviewer.
And this is a video test of the webcam. It is recording at 480p, 25 frames per second, in a 4:3 aspect ratio. Yes, it makes a lot of modifications, like heavy filtering on the face, and it looks like it's straight out of like 2009. And believe it or not, you can actually make this webcam's quality even worse. Moving on from 480p to 240p. Now, it was actually recording in 30 FPS all along. I mistaken it for 25 frames per second, but sometimes it can get really choppy with bad lighting and stuff. Now, the only good thing about this webcam is that it gives like a sort of retro style. And as you can see, there could be some frame drops. And we can go even lower, believe it or not, from 240p to 120p. Yeah, look at that quality. It is so terrible. I don't know why they bothered including it. Like, there's no webcam software for this Lenovo stuff. Like, there exists one, but it's not compatible with this computer. So who cares? At the end of the day, it's a webcam on a laptop and they had to cut down the costs. Of course, you need the best lighting conditions, because otherwise you'd end up looking like this. If you don't like having a garbage webcam, you can always just set your phone as a webcam through, for example, apps like everyon webcam or everyon webcam, however you pronounce it. Again, it's still fine for video calls and all that kind of stuff.
In conclusion, never buy this laptop ever, no matter who you are. You could have already predicted that based on the way I've been talking about this laptop throughout this whole video. Now, if you have it, I'm not saying it's bad, go replace it. But if you're thinking about buying it, think about it. It's a 5-year-old laptop and it's not even good value for it is. You're probably better off with a ThinkPad. I know I've been hating on Linux this whole time, but you might as well get a ThinkPad or install Linux on this. Because $600 and you get yourself like Windows 11 is still a terrible deal. Never buy this laptop ever. Make sure you actually do your research before buying your laptop, because I didn't do that and I ended up with this for $600, which is not worth it. It's a would be appreciated, and if you want me to do more laptop reviews, then I probably can only do one more. So